I want to stay a little bit longer on the general subject of Trump's post-arrest and arraignment speech at Mar-a-Lago, but now move to some Kari Lake related things. Kari Lake being the failed gubernatorial candidate in Arizona who now repeatedly falsely claims that she won for some reason. And what I'm going to show you here is honestly disturbing for what it says about the current state of American politics. And then we'll look at a second clip from this event. She's at the Mar-a-Lago speech, and then we'll look at a little bit from her from an interview shortly before and discuss some different elements of this. But first, here is her about to interview with Right Side Broadcasting, and the crowd starts chanting, "Kari won."
Everybody step aside.
I love these people. Wow. This is amazing, Brian.
Well,
hi, RSBN. Thank
we're
you,
here.
RSBN. You've been everywhere today.
I think I've ever gone from New York to West Palm Beach. She did win.
You're right. They're saying
they're Kari won. Yeah, it's been a long day for us, but we're here.
As I've said in the past, it's an interesting point from the standpoint of it not being true, if that makes sense, right? Fascinating from the perspective of falsehoods. But I mean, think about that. A former president's about to come on stage who was just arrested and arraigned. He attempted to install himself president despite losing an election based on lies about that election. He attempted to install himself for 4 more years despite losing. Then the crowd turns before that former president comes on stage and is chanting that a failed gubernatorial candidate won when she didn't, and she's also lying, as did the guy who's about to come on stage about their elections. It's just completely bizarre and dangerous. I say bizarre, but more accurately dangerous. And I just don't see how this all kind of continues to move forward without causing severe damage to our democratic process, with so many believing things that just aren't true about it. Next moment from a different interview while she's still at Mar-a-Lago from Newsmax, or on Newsmax.
Mama bears recognize when their kids are being bullied. They know what bullying is, and it's been a nonstop bullying of President Trump. And the only crime he committed was beating Hillary Clinton and humiliating Hillary Clinton.
And also attempting to pressure election officials, election interference, falsifying business records, mishandling and obstructing in regard to the classified documents case. And yeah, but only crime was defeating Hillary Clinton.
And honestly, if that's a crime, then Bill Clinton should be locked up because he's humiliated her more than anybody else. We want President Trump. We want him in the White House. We want him leading this country and getting us back on strong footing on a world stage. And I think at the end of the day, Americans are going to vote for him in droves like they did in 2020, but in even bigger numbers. And it's going to be really hard to cheat him out of this next election.
The Dominion magical flipping of votes only works up until a certain point, and then they just give up and Republicans will be able to win. And then we get to the interview she did with Sebastian Gorka before this event. And a few of the things that are said here, I want to use as a jumping off point to have a discussion.
What is your message to those more than 3 million people listening right now at Kari Lake who say, this is it, today, it's gone?
I did not catch that preparing for today's show, that he said 3 million people listening. Does this network have 3 million viewers or something, or listeners? At least at this point in time. Guys, we gotta up my viewership. That's crazy. This is yet another example, as we see so much in American politics, of how lucrative lying and lies are lucrative, and that's why we have to work so aggressively, so consistently to put out truth and truthful messages. But continuing.
The America of yore has disappeared, and they want to just give up on the republic.
I say this is when we jump in and really start fighting. We can't let this country go. Our founding fathers gave up too much to bring us this great country, to bring us this great constitution, and there's too much left to fight for. And I'm not willing to stop. I've got children. I'm not willing to stop fighting for them and their future. And I think we need to double down and jump in with both feet, get behind President Trump and make sure he has a huge victory in 24. And then we can begin to make our country great again.
The perfect message. We double down, we redouble our efforts, because if
So doubling down, supporting Trump, what's so notable about just this moment is while the danger is real and the damage that can be done before this movement is no longer politically relevant is significant. But also, this ideology, the detached from reality nature of it, I do think it's going to destroy the modern Republican Party and cause them to be so unsuccessful in so many different elections. Now, not all of them, clearly. And again, the damage that can be done when they do end up winning is horrible. But it is going to very much damage the Republican Party because, as we saw in the midterms, as we saw with Trump's loss and all that we're observing with how voters are reacting to this very radical ideology, this election denier, hardcore MAGA ideology, while it can be successful in places, I don't think nationally it will be able to be consistently successful. And because of that, the Republican Party will end up time and time again, because enough of the party supports this, picking as their nominee individuals such as Kari Lake and Trump and all this, who aren't someone that the general public can get behind in the general election, and thus hopefully they'll end up losing. Now, Trump could win in 2024, but hopefully he won't. And this is what we'll see play out as I'm outlining. And so observing all of that over the next few years is going to be a fascinating experience, because time and time again, the Republican Party is choosing what's worse for them in general elections, absolutely. And it's damaging them a lot. And hopefully eventually the message will be sent that the general public doesn't want this, and this ideology, this movement will become irrelevant. But right now, it is still very relevant. And that's rather concerning. Let me know what you think. Luke Beasley Official on Instagram, if you're an Instagram user.